is the way that they go about their protests. Whether they do a human chain across a freeway or whatever. Because believe it or not, that does get media attention. And I know that's why they're doing it, is because to get media attention.
It's shock value.
Exactly.
Right.
So, what if us patriots did a human chain across freeways?
Oh man, we don't.
You know how we would be portrayed? You know how we would be portrayed in the media and everything else? If a bunch of white gun-toting people, patriots, American flag-waving people, tried to do something like that?
But if no one is waving the American flag or toting guns or anything like that, I mean, how can they say that?
We'd still be considered domestic terrorists.
Well, I honestly, me personally, I wear that as a badge of honor, because honestly, and here's the thing to all my listeners out there: if you are thinking the same way I'm thinking, which I honestly hope you are, if the government thinks that you are a domestic terrorist, then wear that as a badge of honor. Because the only way, and here's the thing, the only way you're either a domestic terrorist or a patriot. And honestly, when it comes down to it, it all depends on who the victor is.
Right.
So,
well, you know me, Nick.
Oh, I know
was
you.
Prepared, and I kind of still am to this day. If I ever found enough people, because I'm just going to go throw my life away by myself. My whole belief of going back to D.C. is fine. You can petition these papers, you can file your grievances and all that stuff, but until you're ready to walk into these buildings and grab these people, not threatening to beat them up or nothing like that, but with enough people to be able to pull them out of their desk and let them know, you know what? We no longer have confidence in you. We're dragging you out of this office, and we're not letting you back.
Because you know what?
Right? And
it
has to be done. It has to be in a non-violent way, because if you do it in violence, you're going to receive the title of terrorist in a way that you don't want. Right? We're all going to get that label anyways, but we have to make sure that when history looks back at it.
Well, it looks like Ernie's cell phone is cutting out on him there. And let's see if he's... Ernie, are you still with us? Okay, Jason, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say real quick, if people want to see what's going on with the whole racial division in this country, they need look no farther than what's been going over on in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Over there, the government, which is predominantly black, has coexisted with the white farmers who have supplied the economy and made that a very prosperous. All of them working together as one has made that very prosperous. But over time, the ones that are in power over there will turn around and start blaming the white farmers for stuff, and they use race over it, and then they start to divide the people, and then next thing you know, the cleansing takes place, the farmers leave, and then what happens? The whole economy falls apart. Well, then the next one will come in and say, "Oh, well, we'll give you guys this amount of money and blah 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 if you come back and you start, planting your crops and producing for us again." And they'll do that, and it's rinse and repeat over and over. This is what's going on in this nation right now.
Except when it came to the 1900s, though, Jason, is that the agricultural population significantly dwindled during that time for people moving to the city. And I mean, you have about maybe 5-10% of the American population that are actually farmers. And these farmers, ladies and gentlemen, are our breadwinners. Okay, they're the ones that are growing our food, growing the corn, growing the soybeans, growing the oranges, everything. They're the beef, the milk, the pork, everything. Only about 10, honestly, I'll go 15%. I'll go on a limb and say 15%. But, of the American population. The rest live in urban, in the cities, or they live out in the country, but they don't do anything that provides, especially those in the rural areas, they don't provide anything that helps America. Because
right.
We've seen in the 1960s that the U.S. government started dwindling the farm economy.
Right. Well, if you look at things right now, and I seen a very interesting report. I think it was a couple days ago, and I'll try to find that and send it to you sometime. But out of the remaining farmers that we have in this nation, 15% will be out of business before the close of 2016. And think about what that's going to do to this nation.
I can already think about it. I mean, economic collapse, food shortages, mass rioting, looting, you name it.
Yeah, some of the top farmers have already come out and stated that within this year, leading into 2017, we're going to see major food shortages here in America. That's how bad it is. People have no idea. The ones that you're talking about, the ones that aren't doing anything, they're not producing anything here in America, other than coming home and kicking up their feet and watching American Idol and all's well, in the world.
Well, and actually, I've just been told via Facebook Messenger from CJ Abernathy that actually it's 15% of the workforce that are farmers. 15.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah, and we're gonna have a good majority going out of business this year because it's too expensive for them to operate, and I can't blame them. And then you look at the situation that's going on over in Oregon right now and what happened in Nevada. These ranchers are getting squeezed to the point that they can't make it anymore. The ones that don't want to fight back are they're just going, here, have it. I don't want the headache. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want anything. As long as you leave me alone, I'm going to go over here now. And they're leaving all that behind. And people, normal people that don't live that life, they don't see the ramifications of that. They really don't.
Right. No, exactly.
But they're going to.
Exactly. Go ahead, Ernie. Go ahead.
No, I agree 100%.
Okay.
We all kind of fear these things happening, but these are the exact things that need to happen for this country to wake up. See, I think a lot of our misconceptions is that we're looking for another revolutionary war like our first one. The one that we're going to be in will be nothing like the first one.
Oh no. It'll be like the It will be like the Revolutionary War and the Civil War put together. There will be families put against families, brothers against brothers.
Well, here I want to say this real quick, and one thing, and I'm going to go on to Scripture. Jesus did warn everybody that in these times that we're living in, because I'm one of those. I believe that we're getting close to the end days. That was talked about in Revelations, but Jesus did warn that it would be brother against brother, and if you actually look at the actual nomenclature behind that, the definitions of the brother versus brother, it's ethnos versus ethnos, which means it's going to be a race war. It's going to be a race war, and we're seeing it fomenting right now.
Absolutely,
that's crazy.
So now, what are your thoughts on that, Ernie?
Oh, I believe he's 100% right. there's no doubt. I'm a believer also, and that's just the directions that people are going. Whether a person believes in a God or not, there's something about the Scripture that talks about wisdom and spiritual principles and these type of things. And as a believer, it's real easy for me to say, this is the clock mechanisms of how people work, right? And there's all kinds of warnings by not following these things, in Proverbs and all kinds of stuff like that. And when people don't use this normal clockwork procedure of how things naturally work, things fall apart. And it's very easy to see how and why and what's going to happen. But the people that don't live by these values or don't see them as any value because they want freedom, not liberty, there's a big difference. They're bringing the curse upon their own head.
Yep. Well, and one thing I commented on today, and I don't know if you've seen it, Nick, or not, but I had put on there, no matter if people want to believe it or not, God had it absolutely right when he said, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And that goes back to what we were talking about with the whole separation, the two separate governments operating.
I would agree with that, yeah. I mean, now granted, I'm not exactly a God-fearing man myself, but I would agree with that statement, yes.
Yeah, and it's something that people really need to sit down and look at what is going on in what was said in Scripture, because a lot of it makes sense in the times that we're living in right now, in the stuff that we're dealing with. I mean, for God's sakes, we're relying, and this goes back to the whole election thing we were talking about. This person has this stuff wrong, but yet these good qualities, and so on and so forth. We sit there. Number one, we sit there and rely on a man or a woman to sit there and tell us how to live our lives. And look what happens. Look at the situation we're in right now. And that's right. Because of that. We've lost those principles of following what God told us to do, because if you actually sit down and read it, you will see that those principles are followed. Life's going to be good. It really will be. And oh crap! And then the other stuff that's going on right now. A lot of people, like I said, they live in this little la-la land right now that they don't believe that the economy's bad. They don't believe that they have to, at least try to prepare, especially those with families in some form, shape, or fashion. They want to just stick their head in the sand and go, "Oh, all's well." Well, look, right. The writing's been on the wall for the longest time.
But they can't see it.
We're living it.
Exactly, but they can't see it. Now, before we go any further, we only have 31 minutes left in the broadcast. Believe it or not, and we're actually skipping a few steps here of the 10 steps, which is okay. I mean, we're revisiting it, so we don't exactly have to go through every one of them. But I will say that. Step number 6 is to detain and release ordinary citizens. We've seen that already. Step number 7 is to target key individuals like, Bradley Manning, saying that he had a sex change. Former Attorney General Eric Holder being targeted for domestic terrorist. But the one that I really, really want to hit on, and I'm sure everyone's got a say on this one, is restricting the press.
Oh, yeah. Well, look at what happened to Breitbart.
Well, and honestly, someone today on my Facebook feed, posted something from Breitbart, saying that the federal government was going to shut down and this and that or whatever. And, honestly, when it comes to Breitbart, I don't exactly, me personally, I don't exactly think of it as a reliable source of news. But honestly, then again, you know, you really can't think of Fox News or CNN or anything.